Guys, here I go about drag racing, and I do have my one audience member because obviously I was not feeling too good on Sunday. This might not be the most appropriate attire, but this is what I'm talking about today, and it is about drag racing. This is our vehicle right here. What is a drag race, really? You have to think about, have you ever been to a National Trails raceway like drag race, sat in the bleachers, waited for that rumble from the exhaust? You're sitting there waiting patiently as you're watching these two drivers getting ready to hit the gas as soon as that light turns green and take that car down the track as fast as they possibly can go. You know, that's just part of the excitement, especially when you know somebody that's driving the vehicle. I didn't get involved into drag racing until my fiance started doing it roughly 4 years ago or so. And then he started bringing me in and teaching me everything I know. So, you know, one thing I wanted to talk about is what you have to prepare for race day. You know, you have to think about what the weather's going to be like, what the conditions outside are going to be like, if it's going to be wet, if it's going to be hot, if it's going to be cold. You have to think about your car, if it's programmed properly for these conditions. So, you know, I want to talk about also how drag racing evolved from where it was to what it is nowadays. So in 1930 in Southern California, Britannica has reported that this one guy, his name was Wally Parks, he was drag racing down dry lake beds in SoCal. And he actually created one organization called the Southern California Timing Association, which is how people time the cars from the start line to the quarter-mile ending or that half-mile ending. In World War II, what happened was the guys came back from war. They had this excitement that they needed to fill, and drag racing became really popular then. So they wanted that need for speed, they wanted that action, they wanted that excitement. And in 1959, C.J. Parks actually built the first drag strip and really brought this whole thing to life. So now NHRA, which is the National Hot Rod Association, has over 140 tracks in the United States. You have a half-mile, a quarter-mile racing. You also have a half-mile roll racing and a quarter-mile roll racing. It's two different kinds of races you can do. You can go from 0 to 230 miles an hour in less than 1 mile. And right now, reported by the NHRA, they have a record on point for 0 to 338 miles per hour in 3.65 seconds, which is pretty amazing if you think about it. But when you're preparing for it, what you have to think is, what do you have to do to get ready for race day? You know, you have to think about the pro racers, but really what I'm talking about is the weekend warriors, the people that are just like you and I, that have that vehicle, that take it to what is our home track as National Trails, and they take the car down the track and they just drive for fun. You have to modify the car though. You have to modify your vehicle to win. You have to go from a regular manufacturer spec vehicle, which is, you know, comfort, it's fuel efficient, it's just a basic car, and you have to add in all these items to make it, you know, that race car that you're going for. So in turn, you have to actually adjust the fuel system. You have to adjust your exhaust. You have to reprogram the ECU, which is the brain on the car. You have to think about the tires. You have to think about the suspension. So you're taking it right from a gas sipper to an all-out race car when you rebuild this vehicle. In 1970, there was a new form that was introduced. It's called forced induction, which is not a supercharger, but forced induction is from a turbocharger. So it's a kind of more cost-effective way to get that supercharged engine. But to add a turbo, which is what forced induction is to a vehicle, you know, that's just a better way and a more cost-efficient way to get that car fast. So, you know, once you add all these components to the vehicle, you have to think about the programming, how you set the car up, what gas you use, the tires, everything that goes along with it. You have to think about the suspension and how that suspension and frame is going to take the power from you hitting the gas to it gripping the road and squatting down and pushing your car down the track as fast as possible. So you can have drag slicks, you can have street radials, you can go from a stop, standing still, start, and hit your gas and go down that track, or you can go from a rolling start, which are the two different races. But it's really not as easy as you think. You know, it takes a lot of knowledge, it takes fast vehicles, and it's a sport that any underdog can win. You have to just plan, practice, prepare, and execute it. I never really understood it. Like I said, 4th season at National Trails for us, and that's our home track, but we're getting more and more competitive every year. So, you know, you have some camaraderie, you have the friendships, you have the community, you have like a family when you go there, which is the most exciting part. But my visual today is actually our vehicle. Like I said, it's a sweatshirt that I'm wearing, and we have an 02 Lexus IS300 that has the suspension modified, the engine and the internals modified, pistons all rebuilt, turbocharger added because that was not standard on this vehicle. And then you have the tuning of the car, which is what you do to that ECU and the computer on the vehicle to make it fast. And then you have the exhaust, and this is my fiance Kevin racing it down national trails. So it's kind of fun, and it's really exciting, and especially when you're involved in it, it makes it even better. I hope I've inspired everybody to come and see what it's all about and experience that fun with us. Thank you. Hey.